Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We are reading a chapter in The Creative Act, like we do, I'd say most mornings, but it's been a while. Last time I did this, I had a tech glitch, but I fixed it. My mic is on. So let's read. This chapter is called Inspiration. It appears in a moment, an immaculate conception, a divine flash of light, an idea that would otherwise require labor to unfold serious blooms in a single inhalation. What defines inspiration is the quality and quantity of the download. Interesting. What defines inspiration is the quality, and quantity of the download. At a speed so instantaneous it seems impossible to process. Inspiration is the rocket fuel powering our work. It's a universal conversation we yearn to be a part of. I like that metaphor. Quality and quantity of the download. It's not just a small idea. Yeah, makes sense. The word comes from Latin inspire, meaning to breathe in or blow into. I need to work on my Latin. For the lungs to draw in air, they must first be emptied. For the mind to draw inspiration, it wants space to welcome the new. The universe seeks balance. Through this absence, you are inviting energy in. The same principle applies to everything in life. If we are looking for a relationship when we're already in one, then we are full. There's no room for the new to enter. We are unable to welcome in the relationship we want. To create space for inspiration, we might consider practices of quieting the mind, meditation, awareness, silence, contemplation, prayer, any ritual that helps us fend off distraction and papancha. I don't know what that word means. I like this already, this emptying of the mind. I definitely feel that. Running is a big part of that for me. I give myself space to go run, and that helps me just be present with myself in a different way. Although a lot of times when I'm running, I'm thinking about videos I'm making while I'm running. But still, long runs especially, there's lots of space for inspiration and ideas. You need those. I had a coach once who said you need non-conscious activity, and running becomes that. So, what is the non-conscious activity? The things that just you do, yard work. It can be folding laundry. I guess could be non-conscious activity. Where do you let ideas come in? Taking a shower. No wonder ideas come in the shower. Yeah. Breath itself is a potent vehicle to calm our thoughts, create space, and tune in. It cannot guarantee that inspiration will come, though the vacancy may draw the muse into play. Taken more spiritually, inspiration means to breathe life into. We're getting spiritual. I like this game. An ancient interpretation defines it as the immediate influence of the divine. For the artist, inspiration is a breath of creative force drawn in instantly from outside of our small selves. We can't be sure where this spark of insight originates. It's helpful to know it's not us alone. When inspiration does arrive, it is invariably energizing, but it's not something to rely on. An artistic life cannot be built solely around waiting. Inspiration is out of our control and can prove hard to find. Effort is required and invitations are to be extended. And it's absent, we may work on other areas of the project independent of this cosmic transmission. The where does inspiration come from? That's the part that always hangs me up. Like, are we waiting for it from some conscious entity? Like, is the universe sending us inspiration? I don't know. I think of it more as like the first Star Wars movie when they described the Force. It was less about like an actual thing to be measured. We get that later in the prequels. It was just this energy force that surrounds all things, and it was less of a is it there, but are you aware of its just it's a fish swimming in water. It's there, but it's all you're aware. It's all you're born into, so you're not even aware that it's there. I think inspiration is that it's a fish noticing the water's wet, or maybe feeling that it's wet and not sure what that sensation is because they have no contrast out of which to even measure it. So I don't think of it as like a signal sent to someone and no one else, but more of, are we all able to just get in the space of being open to notice what's always been here? Radical imminence. It's radical imminence. Story of Moses burning bush, stands there, wind to the ground, become holy. It was always holy. He just had been too busy to notice it. I think the potential for inspiration is always there. It's a matter of Are we tuned in to notice it or have the dots connect? Connecting dots is my favorite way. You got to collect the dots. And if you only have 3 dots, you can only make a triangle. But if you have 20 dots, you can make all sorts of shapes. And so it's a matter of having enough dots. Sometimes too many can be overwhelming. Yeah, you following this metaphor? I like this metaphor. This one works for me. All right, where are we at? Epiphanies are hidden in the most ordinary of moments. Hey, we were just saying this kind of. The casting of a shadow, the smell of a matching ignition, an unusual phrase overheard or misheard, a dedication to the practice of showing up on a regular basis is the main requirement. To vary your inspiration, consider varying your inputs. Turn the sound off to watch a film. Listen to the same song on repeat. Read only the first word of each sentence in a short story. Arrange stones by size or color. Learn to lucid dream. Break habits. Look for differences. Notice connections. One indicator of inspiration is awe. We tend to take so much for granted. How can we move past disconnection and desensitization to the incredible wonders of nature and human engineering all around us? I'm with you there. When was the last time you looked up at a tree and saw its branches waving and just let that moment be a moment? Not often enough is the answer. Most of what we see in the world holds the potential to inspire astonishment if we look at it from a less jaded perspective. Train yourself to see the awe behind the obvious. Look at the world from this vantage point as often as possible. Submerge yourself. One trick is to have a 4 and 5-year-old like I do, because they notice things that you just are so used to seeing. And it's really fascinating. Like an anthill becomes this space for awe, and talking about how that's like the door to their house and there's more down there and they can rebuild it if it gets knocked over, but we should still be careful of it. Yeah, there's lots of good lessons that come from life with little ones. The beauty around us enriches our lives in so many ways. It is an end in itself, and it sets an example for our own work. We can aim to develop an eye for harmony and balance as if our creations have always been here, like mountains or feathers. Ride the wave as long as it can be ridden. If you are fortunate enough to experience the strike of inspiration, again, the strike of inspiration, I think it's less about inspiration striking and it's more about me just noticing. So maybe it feels like a strike, but that's like saying the sun sets. The sun doesn't actually set. We just tip backwards. From our perspective, it can feel one way. Yeah, okay, I'm overthinking this. Take full advantage of the access. Remain in the energy of this rare field, of this rarefied moment for as long as it lasts. When flowing, keep going. If you're a writer and you tap into a stream of ideas before bed, you may want to stay with it until dawn. If you're a musician, you've reached your goal of creating 1 song or 10 songs. The music is still coming. Capture all you can. The work yielded may not be used in the current project, but it may be of use another time, or it may not. The task of the artist is simply to recognize the transmission and stay with it in gratitude until it truly runs its course. I like that. In terms of priority, inspiration comes first. You come next. The audience comes last. Whoo! Inspiration comes first. You come next. The audience comes last. How often do we think about the audience first? Which isn't a bad thing. But when it comes to making something that we might consider art, maybe it's not about the audience. It's not even about myself. It's about just exploring the idea for the sake of the idea. I like that. I have a project I've started slowly. I need to add more to it. Maybe I'll film today, called 1 Hour Later, where I set up a camera someplace and then film for an hour and come back and I upload it. And then I watch it. And it's on a YouTube channel called 1 Hour Later. And the idea is it's an experiment in non-retention. Like, can you pay attention to something that is not keeping your attention? More like these screens typically are constantly distracting us. And it's my way of saying, can we use the technology to mediate presence, even if it takes our focus to do so? And it's easy to make, but it's an experiment designed without the audience in mind, or it's an audience who's not into Mr. Beast. It's the anti-Mr. Beast channel. But I think it's an example of I'm inspired by a concept and I want to explore it. And so I'm just trying to do it again and again and again to see what happens and what I notice in myself as I film it and watch it, and then maybe what it might invite in others. So that to me is an example of inspiration first, you second, audience third. These are special moments and are to be treated with the utmost devotion. Our schedules are set aside when these fleeting moments of illumination come. Summon your strength and commit yourself on behalf of this offering, even when it arises at an inopportune time. This is the serious artist's obligation. John Lennon once advised that if you start a song, write it through the end in that sitting. The initial inspiration has a vitality in it that can carry you through the whole piece. Don't be concerned if some of the parts are not yet all they can be. Get through a rough draft. A full, imperfect version is generally more helpful than a seemingly perfect fragment. Oh, that's worth underlining. A full, imperfect version is generally more helpful than a seemingly perfect fragment. Seemingly perfect is the key word there. When an idea forms or a hook is written, we may feel that we've cracked the code and the rest will take care of itself. If we step away and let the initial spark fade, we may return to find it's not so easy to rekindle. Think of inspiration as a force not immune to the laws of entropy. So the inspiration will degrade. You gotta tap in while you got it. I like that. I mean, the chapter probably didn't make my top 10 in the book, but I like it. I like the whole book. It's a good book. I think my biggest takeaway from that is not what was in the book, but it's the way I'm kind of wrestling with it. We often think of inspiration as, someone sending a message, and did we receive it and it was sent just to me? And I think that we have to recognize it's in the air for all of us. And maybe that's the best potential. We all have the potential to tap into this. And how do we create conditions where others can tap into it? Because that's the reality too. Most people aren't at the space to even be present and notice. They're so focused on the immediate in front of them, like feeding their family and caring for them, whatever is in front of them. And that's essential too. It's no surprise that it took society, we didn't all become artists, and it's hard to develop fine arts when you are just looking for the day-to-day. Art and philosophy comes from being lazy, and being lazy is a luxury. Maybe the sad thing is the people who have more than they'll ever need aren't being lazy in a way to cultivate society. They're being lazy in a way to cultivate themselves. All right, that's like 3 steps from the chapter, but you're with me. All right, this was fun. We'll do it again, maybe tomorrow, maybe not. We'll see. It's been a while, but I'm glad I could do it today. I got to get some work done, and I'll talk to you on the next one. See you then. Bye.